You have your phone on you?
Yes.
Did Discord ping?
I don't know.
Well, that's not helpful.
Yes, it did.
Okay, so we should be live then. And I'm just going to take it for granted that we are. Hey, everybody, my name's Joe.
I am also Joe.
Welcome back to SNES is Life. Tonight's our special episode where we're going to go over the top and bottom 5 games out of the first 50 games that we have played. We've reached that 50 mark, which to me is a big step. I'd say it's a milestone, yeah?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Um,
Not as much as 100 in my opinion, but
we hit
50 is a lot of games.
We started in February. We hit 50 at the end of August. So 7 months, 7 months basically.
That's
So roughly March next year, we should hit 100.
woof.
Woof. Yeah, woof indeed. So we are going to go through these. We're going to do our worst games first. So, Joey, you want to start with your number 5?
My number 5, that is Chess Master.
The Chess Master. It's a clip show, folks. Look out.
It's hard.
It's
to
a
start
bad
with
game,
Chess
but
Master.
why?
So, it's chess. There's not much to do with chess, first of all.
That's true.
And it, at least in the 3D mode, it was very difficult to tell where your pieces were.
Yeah, that mode was really hard to deal with.
And, oh, the music.
But you could turn the music off.
You could turn the music off, but it's just so boring and slow.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with boring and slow, and the graphics weren't great. But the fact is, like, you can't knock it for bad gameplay because it's chess. Like, you go into it going, I'm going to play chess. You get to play chess.
I didn't go into it knowing I'm going to play chess. I went into it thinking, I have to play chess.
Wow, you like chess.
In real life.
Oh my god.
It's
Okay.
different.
I mean, the graphics aren't great. The sound is not really existent other than really bad music.
So bad.
It was pretty bad. It was bad, but it didn't make my top 5 bad games.
They can't hear the music.
What? Video game review. Oh, yeah, I know. There's no sound.
Okay.
It's a clip show, but no sound because I didn't want to have to fight over our microphone with it. And it's just that much more processing that this poor thing's going to have to try and do. Because technically every video we've watched is already running in the background.
Ooh.
Yeah, so I wasn't going to have sound fighting with the processing power. Video game review. Hey, Trey, thanks for joining us. Yeah, basically. So anyway, Chess Master bad. We get the point. My number 5 is Bill Lambert's Combat Basketball. Yeah. So it wasn't really a game. I don't know. I mean, you did figure it out. You were kicking my butt, but it's just it's a top-down view, which isn't great. The graphics are mediocre at best. The gameplay is mediocre. It's very slow. Again, sort of like Chess Master, the sound and music just wasn't really there. There weren't a lot of things to... I mean, basically you got the ball and you walked with it. And you passed it and shot it. And there are better basketball games coming in the future, I guarantee you. And this is just not one of them.
Yeah, the biggest issue was, I think, that right there.
The little jumpy thing?
The tackle.
Oh, the fact that you could beat each other up.
Yep, you just tackle someone constantly and take
Yeah.
the ball from them.
It got kind of annoying. I think it would have been better... You know what would have been better is if you had this, and then when you tackled someone, it switched to like a 2D one-on-one fighting game like Street Fighter. That would have been awesome. Like, that would have been a great concept for a game, and that's what they should have done. But Bill Lambert's Combat Basketball, not a very good game. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is John Madden's Football.
Where are we at? John Madden Football! But I want to watch some football. Now, what was your problem with John Madden Football?
I mean, first of all, I don't like football.
That's fair.
But I had issues with the controls. They were very confusing to me.
Yeah.
And then, as you see, it's kind of choppy. I don't know. It just wasn't a great game.
Yeah.
I think the issue was, like, they aren't my bottom of my bottom 5.
Yeah.
Like, as it gets closer to 5, I don't necessarily consider them terrible.
But not great.
But all the other ones, I think, are better, which pushes these further down.
Agreed. If I remember correctly, John Madden didn't have music either.
I don't think it did.
It was another sports game that really could have benefited from music. I don't know if it was a frame rate issue, but you're right. The game was very choppy. My guess is it was a frame rate thing that they just, limitations of the technology at the time would be my guess. But it was very choppy. It was slowed down a lot. God, football. I get football, and I can watch football and be happy with it. But yeah, playing it on video game, there's just so many times you stop the ball. It's just kind of irritating, frankly. It's not fast paced. It's not interesting enough to watch for me. So yeah, I mean, I get why you put it on there, but my number 4 is later on Joey's list, so we're gonna talk about that when we get to him. Your number 3?
My number 3 is, actually, is it later on yours or?
No, yours number 3 was my number 4.
Ultraman.
Oh yeah,
Towards the Future.
Oh god. Yeah, so this was my number 4, and your number 3. You wanna lead this one?
No.
It was so bad.
So, first off, there wasn't really much sound other than,
Thump,
laser
thump,
and
boom,
thumping,
choo.
right?
Yeah.
It's
Look, I managed to
so bad.
grab a clip of us actually winning a fight.
Yeah, the rare occasion.
So, the game was not... It wasn't blocky movement, but it was very...
It was very
cumbersome movement,
yeah,
and
like
very slow and very deliberate. There was no smoothness, no finesse, no panache to it, And I mean, you've played Street Fighter with me, so you know what's coming there. But you have to compare this to something, and Street Fighter is smooth as it gets.
It's
and this is
better.
So far down, going backwards.
Graphically speaking, it's just not.
Yeah, the graphics aren't up to par. I mean, they're okay.
Good. Well, I'm not even just talking about the sprites. I'm just like in general, like everything just wasn't great. Like the background and the foreground of this, that's okay. Right. It looks kind of like Rampage, which I guess makes sense for kaiju fighting Ultraman, but it was slow. There wasn't any really music, which I think would have helped.
The sound was lackluster. The gameplay was what killed this for me. If you sped this up, gave you a little bit more fluidity, it would probably be an okay fighting game. Not great, okay. But it's so slow and there's so little to do. It's just the gameplay is what really ruins Ultraman.
The only real issue I have is instead of trading out difficulty, they put in this whack ability where in order to kill the enemy, they have to be at the very end of their bar, and you have to wait until you get your level 4 power at the very top of that orange section in the middle of the screen and shoot him with that while it says finish.
Again, that's a gameplay issue, though.
But they regain health.
Yeah.
So you have to continuously fight them. Which, I feel like they could have just made it more difficult and it would have been just fine.
I felt it was difficult enough, frankly.
Later in the game, definitely.
I mean, we did. You got us to what, like the third boss, that like Rolly Armadillo dude, and he smoked our bags like 5 times. It's just not that great of a game, frankly. Going to my number 3, which I am shocked did not make it onto your list. Home Alone.
I didn't dislike Home Alone,
which apparently does not want to roll on for me here.
It says it's there.
Oh, I know.
You have
there it is. Haha! Ultraman was taking over, Kevin. Home Alone. It was bad. The color palettes were okay.
You can tell that this is me playing.
Shut up. The graphics weren't great. They were very blocky. The sound was pretty crap. Hey, Rob, thanks for getting to us. I got into your list yet, or have you just been talking? No, we're in the list. This is my third of 5 worst games from the top 50. So we've gone through 5 and 4 already. And Ultraman was Joey's number 3, so we're on my number 3. So yeah, the gameplay isn't great. The controls aren't great. The real problem with this game is it is literally the exact same level over and over and over and over again. There's no new and interesting enemies. You're going to see the same bad guys every game, every level. The hitboxes were wonky. It's just like, that's it. You run back around and you collect stuff and drop it down a laundry chute. And then eventually you get enough stuff that you can go down there and fight whatever the hell the boss is. And it's very uninspired and not fun.
I will agree with that, but I don't think it was actually that bad.
It was that bad.
I kind of enjoyed it, really.
Unacceptable. The hell? You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if we played more levels, I wouldn't have, because I get bored of repetitive things quickly. But...
You hurt me, sir. You hurt me. All right. Well, number 2, which is the same. These last 2 are the same for both of us. And I bet any of you who have watched us can guess what these last 2 are going to be. Number 2, Draken. Oh my god. So...
I didn't play this.
No, and you're lucky you didn't. Look at that alligator go, man, at 100 miles an hour.
Oh, you didn't get the clip of the shark?
No, I didn't feel like digging for it.
What'd you have?
I thought about it. So here's the thing with Draken. Considering I'm the one that played it, the graphics aren't superb. I can forgive those graphics. These graphics are okay. They're acceptable for an early RPG.
Even then, it's not like terrible.
Yeah, they're not terrible. I've seen way. No, that's not great. But
that's just the overlap.
The color palettes were okay. I can't remember if it had music or not. I don't think it did really. Like there might have been like a little bit of background, but not much. Not enough, obviously, to make it memorable. The sound was simplistic, nothing special. Remember the fights? Yeah,
I do.
That was the fight noise. So the sound and music were really not anything for this game. The gameplay, however, again, as has been the habit for these games that have been at the bottom of the list here, is terrible. It is arguably an RPG, but if you have a command box on the right that says, talk, touch, attack, blah, blah, blah. And it's like a point-and-click adventure on the computer. Like, you would have to mouse over every single thing to see what highlights to know that you could actually do something with something. And that's just not going to work. So, this game, there's no mouse. It's just your cursor. And it just... bleh. Just bleh.
I think it would benefit from being a computer game, really.
Yeah, I think it was probably designed as a computer game. You know what it would benefit from? Being used with the SNES mouse. SNES mouse would have helped a lot with this game, frankly, I think.
I don't know if it would have helped with the Killer Shark, though.
No, and that's where the game falls down again, is bad gameplay. Bad game design. So there are a number of enemies in the game that we've discovered that you cannot beat. It does not matter what level you are, what your equipment is, how far into the game you are. You cannot defeat them. There's a giant, red star constellation laser guy that comes out the ground and blasts you and kills you all. Early in, the first thing you do is they're like, hey, go to this castle. You go to that castle. They're like, hey, go back to the other castle. You go back to the other castle. Now there's a shark in that first castle's moat. And it doesn't matter how you time it.
It jumps at hyperspeed.
It doesn't matter if you see it swimming away. It doesn't matter. You walk across that bridge, and it's a coin flip whether it eats your dude or not. And it's not like, it's going to get a couple of my guys, but a couple will make it through. No, there's no guarantee like that. It literally killed all 4 of my guys at one point. You just have to walk across this drawbridge and let dudes die and hope one of your dudes makes it across. And hopefully a healer who can heal the other guys when you get into the castle. Bad game design. Bad game design is all I can say about it. It's just not good. They did at least... So it was kind of neat. You had this roving map, right? And there were at least warp points on each side that jumped you to the other side of the map. Thank God, because walking back and forth across this thing would have been terrible. So, yeah. It wasn't great. It wasn't... Yeah, not good. Not good. But... not as bad as both of our number ones. Pit Fighter.
Yay! What a...
Jack won't be on my top 5 pile. I personally
really
play through all of it. Okay, Trey. Well, I'll tell you what. You come on over sometime. You're welcome to play it. Pit Fighter. Why don't you jump on this one, Chief? Look at him go. Yeah! Oh!
No, one of the 2 times we made it past the first level.
Apparently Genesis version is actually playable. Rob says apparently Genesis version is actually playable. Anyway, so, it's not on the SNES.
Pit Fighter. Where do we even start? The music is very, very muted.
Yeah, there is music. It's super quiet.
All you really hear is the of getting hit and punching. The game over screen. We saw that more times.
Yes, we saw it quite often. It wasn't good. The graphics were poor. It was very kind of chunky and slow movement. Again, much like Ultraman, there were very limited move sets. But I mean, just you can tell by looking at it and just watching the movement here. It's just like punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick.
It doesn't actually look as bad as it is either. But the AI is so ridiculous.
Oh my god, yeah. Like once he gets you over, like
you're stuck on the ground, basically.
He just keeps kicking you and it will not let you up. It is pretty atrocious, yeah. So the graphics were bad. I mean, the graphics were not amazing. They were pretty bad. And that, again, I think is kind of a frame issue. The gameplay was poor. The move selection was poor. The repetitiveness of it was poor.
Yeah, it's the same level over and over, basically.
It is
just different.
It is always the same area. You made it, and then 5 seconds later, you just immediately die. Basically.
Now, they did do something interesting, which they took actual actors and
they
recorded them and put their movements into the game, but not well.
Yeah, basically rotoscoped it. So, it's just... It was, at the time that the game was made, which was in the late 80s, it was an arcade game, which made it unique and different that they did the actors and the rotoscoping, but porting it to the SNES did it no favors. So, yeah.
It did poorly.
It did very poorly, but those are our worst. So, Pit Fighter takes the cake for the worst game on both of our lists. How exciting for that. But now we get to go to the best of. The top 5 games for the Super Nintendo out of the first 50 we've played.
This is our opinion.
Yeah, these are, of course, opinions. Now, we did not talk about this beforehand. I didn't want to taint each other's opinions of it. However, there is some heavy crossover on our list for the top 5, which is not really surprising. So, I'm going to go ahead and go first this time. And my number 5 is ActRaiser. Now, ActRaiser... What did you just...
I did.
Why?
I didn't like ActRaiser.
What?
First of all, I'm not a huge fan of simulation games.
Oh, you're gonna... Ugh. Anyway,
and I'm just not good at platforming.
You say I don't like simulation games, but currently what's on the screen is platforming action. I really enjoyed it because they did something different. They took a game and they mixed genres. They said, hey, here's your platformer. It's not an amazing platform, but it's a pretty sturdy platformer. The graphics good. The colors are good. The music is really good. The sound is good. Do what?
I said I believe this is me playing. Usually when you see a character move back and forth really quickly, up and down, it's typically me playing.
And then after you beat the platforming levels, you go to this kind of simulation level where you're the little angel flying around, and you get to build your little village and get followers who unlock other levels into the game. And I really enjoyed the simulation part, but the platform part was also super nice for me. I thought it was a really interesting mix of genres. There goes the magic spell. So, I mean, It was interesting. I liked the game a lot, and I really enjoyed it. It was one of the, a handful of games we played all the way through.
Did we play all the way through it?
Well, you might not have, but I did later. Oh. I finished the game. And if we didn't finish the game...
we got close.
I think I might have done a save state at the very end of it, and we might have fought the last boss. I can't remember now.
I think we did.
We did, in fact. I do remember. It was like the big, weird, alien-looking dude. So, no, I really enjoyed ActRaiser.
I definitely didn't dislike it, but...
Definitely not top 5 for you.
Not top 5.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, let's go with your number 5.
My number 5 is Raiden Trad.
Your number 5, for whatever reason or another, did not make it on there.
Oh, darn.
No, I got it. You just gotta give me a second to roll her up. It's gonna come in taking like half the screen. Man, I thought I had everything on here, and I had to screw up. Sorry, folks. Raiden Trad. There we go.
All right.
So, why'd you like it?
So, to start off, we beat this game in one night. There you go. This was the only game we've beaten in one night. Which, yeah. I mean, It wasn't super easy, I wouldn't say. And there are definitely more difficult options. We could play it on a higher difficulty. We played it on easy, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But the big thing for me, like, the graphics are pretty good. They put a lot of detail in the plane. It upgrades. It gets more stuff added onto the sprite as you get more power-ups and different power-ups.
Yeah.
There are 2 separate types of weapons. There's the laser weapon, which, not the greatest.
Yeah.
It does more damage, but no spread. And then the other weapon, which is the one that you can currently see, which has a ton of spread. And if you sit in the middle-ish of the screen, you can kind of cover the entire screen and kill everything. But the big thing about this game for me was, like, if I wanted to, I could probably play this with Louis.
Yeah, for sure.
And he wouldn't get mad at it. Because it's not, difficult to the point where I'm not going to have fun, and Louis is going to probably quit, but it's not too easy to the point where we're going to get bored.
Agreed. I like the graphics were good, like you said. The music was all right. The sound was all right.
I liked the music.
I agree. The upgrading your planes and seeing those get better was really good. Overall, you're right. It was a single night play. One of the best parts is 2-player co-op. You're running at the same time. You can't kill each other on accident. Now, I think it took us 2 tries. The first time we died, like level 2 or 3, and then we basically restarted, and then we smoked the game out.
Yeah.
So, not only did we get a couple levels in before having to restart, but then we still beat the game within an hour. So, yeah, I mean, is it the greatest shmup? No. But it is a really solid shmup. And it's great for, like you said...
That's the only reason it's high on my list. Is because I could play it with, like, Louis or maybe Anthony or another child that won't throw a fit dying all the time.
Oh, man, I sneezed and my eyeballs almost came out of my head, I swear.
I don't think that's possible.
The second game in the series improves on... Rob says, the second game in this series improves on everything of it. So that's kind of cool. There is some weird background text on the chat box, but I'm not going to deal with it right now. All right, so yeah, Raiden Trad, I definitely get why you chose that. You saying that you didn't like simulation games. Sorry, friend. My number 4, SimCity. I like simulation games.
I gave this a thumbs up as well, but
don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Only on the statement of... I can understand why people enjoy it, but I do not.
This game to me it's not like it's action. It's not like it's exciting. What it is super relaxing for me. It is easy for me to just sit down and kill an hour playing this game, just listening to the relaxing music, enjoying what I'm doing, seeing what I'm building. Very good. And I can definitely see why people wouldn't like it. I really can. But I don't know, like something about SimCity, dude, ever since I was a little kid, I've enjoyed this game. And there are better Sim Cities. There's Sim City, God, I don't know what they're on. There's like 40 of them now or something stupid. And I'm sure the newest ones are the most in-depth things you can imagine. I remember playing SimCity 2000 later when I was a kid, and it added in, like, you had to add your underground water lines and all this other maintenance stuff, where SimCity was just simple enough to keep me entertained but relaxed. SimCity 2000 added just enough to make me be like, now it's kind of a chore. We both looked at the dog. Please don't throw up while we're recording. I liked SimCity. The graphics were okay. The color palette was nice and bright. The gameplay was fine for a simulation game. We got a couple more simulation games coming. There's at least one in the next 50, which I'm not even looking forward to. I've never even played it. But I just, looking at the instruction manual, it feels like it's going to be a chore. So, oof. Yeah, I know. Sorry. Where are we at? You're number 4?
Super Off-Road.
Hey, Super Off-Road.
So, I really enjoyed this game, actually. There was... The only downside, I think, to this was it was easy to get turned around, seeing as there's no thing preventing you, and you aren't going to win a single level until you get more upgraded.
Hi, Lewis.
Go ahead.
Hi. Give me a sec.
You shut down.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any new uploads, live streams, or videos. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Anyway, the graphics weren't bad.
They weren't great.
They weren't great, but there's not much to do with it. This is a cool thing. You got upgrades on your car, and then if you came in last place, it would make you restart.
Yeah, which was the worst.
It was really bad when you came in last place, but playing this with someone else, I think, is the thing that made it so good, because you could see the other person lose and watch their face go to despair as they desperately try to not get in last place, because that's what this game was. Don't lose.
Last, yeah. Make a top 3. You're right. The graphics, I don't think the graphics are great. The color palette's all right. It's bright and colorful. I like bright and colorful. The top-down control steering was kind of wonky.
It was a bit weird, but I quite enjoy it.
It took getting used to, but once you got it, you were fine.
And the thing about it, even watching it and playing it, it's like slot cars.
Very much.
And I love slot cars.
You're right. The game... Without a second player, I think the game would be terribly boring and not fun at all.
I think it would be...
But you add 2 players...
Kind of painful, because you lose and...
It does. It ruins you.
It would hit you, and you wouldn't have anyone else to say, like, let's keep going.
Like, wipe out. That's when you fail completely and utterly. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun playing together. But I don't think it'd be a game worth playing by yourself. So keep that in mind.
I will say, at the end of the stream, I got my car fully upgraded and won, like, the last 4 races by spamming nitros.
Yeah, that is, if there's any lesson to take away from this, it's that. Buy nitros. Buy them often. Buy all of them. And just use the hell out of them. Because once you get far enough ahead, they're not going to catch you ever. That's just where that is. So... That was your number 4. My number 3, I'm not going to mention because it's up a little later on Joey's list. Your number 3.
Is it up later on your
also list? Up later on my list. My number 2, here's a surprise. It's up later on your list.
My number 2 is your number 3, though.
Yes.
So my number 2 is Castlevania.
So this is your number 2, was my number 3. Now, specifically Super Castlevania 4.
This is not my first Castlevania game. It's the first one I've completed. But I played a little bit, I want to say, of Castlevania 2. I'm not sure.
I couldn't tell you.
I played it on an emulator on my phone. Anyway, I really enjoyed this game. As much as I am not a huge fan of platformers, I did really enjoy playing this. Great soundtrack.
Yes. The sound for Castlevania is excellent. The music is excellent. The sound is good.
The composer, whoever created the music for it, is a genius.
Yeah. All the music for all the Castlevanias has in generally been very good, very well done. The color palettes in this were good. The levels varied. The monsters varied. The bosses varied for the most part. Some of them were a little same. Yeah, I mean, they were all pretty difficult. The whole game's kind of difficult.
Yeah.
The sprites are good. I like the Overland map, and it had its own little music track to it that I liked.
I like that the Overland map kind of shows you the level.
Yeah, towards where you're going. Mm-hmm. The fact that in this game, as opposed to the first three Castlevanias, this one had the whip that went in 9 directions.
Waggle whip.
Yeah, waggle whip. There is a Castlevania after this that they take away the waggle whip. You go back to just being able to swing straight forward, and it's the worst.
Why would they do that? It's terrible.
Yeah. And it's regarded as one of the better games, frankly, just because it's a good game. This Super Castlevania, though, is my favorite by far. I mean, look, you can crawl forward while kneeling. The gameplay is just, it's there. It's on all fronts. The graphics good, the sound's good, the gameplay's good. And it's a classic, and rightly so.
Yeah. I don't know if it's going to be able to see the waggle whip.
The waggle whip?
It probably isn't.
No, probably not.
Dang.
We could watch it for 20 minutes, and we don't even know if we'd get there. So that was your number 2.
That was my number 2.
We're going to skip my number 2 because it's the same as your number 1.
Wow.
So if you'd like to roll with your number 1.
My number 1 is Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. This is my favorite SNES game. It was before coming into this. It still is coming out of it. I love this game so much. Great music. I personally love the Legend of Zelda music. That's a lot of text. Just a wall. Anyway, great RPG. It's a pretty amazing story, and it is such an advance from the first Legend of Zelda, which I have played. It's rough.
Have you played Legend of Zelda 2?
No.
You should give that a whirl sometime.
Is it also rough?
So Legend of Zelda 1 at least was like this, isometric top-down. Right. Legend of Zelda 2 went to 2D platformer.
Ooh. At least it's not the worst Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
The one released for the Dreamcast.
I never played it, so.
But we've talked about it before. The crappy cartoony one.
Oh, that one. Okay, fair. Well, I mean, never having played it, though, it's hard to really say how bad it is. It can be terrible graphically, but maybe it's a good game. You don't know. You don't know it. You don't know it. You don't know it. Back on Link to the Past. Again, level design is great. The color is great. The graphics are good. The top-down view is good. The hitboxes could be a little troublesome because if that sword wasn't in the right place, you didn't hit him. But that's okay. That's totally forgivable based on all the rest. There were some good puzzly areas in it. The bosses, for whatever reason, you had hella difficulty with.
I don't know, and it was only the first 5 bosses. Not even
5 of 8.
It wasn't even 5.
I don't know about that.
I did all right. Also, Trey, to answer your question, yes, the CDI game of Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, I mean, Legend of Zelda is a super solid game. Link to the Past is. It's fun. You get a ton of different items, which, I mean, a lot of the other games have these too, but it was very intuitive, the control schemes and everything. Rob says when you play Link to the Past, it's a randomizer. It's amazing how much of the game you can play without a sword.
I will say this game I did play every Saturday to completion. And
shut up. Why are you trying to poke at me?
I'm happy about it.
Yeah, you should be happy about it. It's a fun game to play. Yeah, I totally agree with your pick of Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. It was my number 2, your number 1. It is just like Castlevania. It is a classic. It's a classic for a reason because it is just damn good on all fronts. So, and finally we get to my number 1. Rolling
Which
classic.
Is actually my number 3.
Your number 3, Super Mario World, because you can't go wrong with a classic.
And this is one of the first games released for the SNES.
It was the first game released for the
Was
Super
it the
Nintendo.
first?
It was the first. It was the one that shipped with the box. Like if you bought a Super Nintendo, when it first came out, it came with Super Mario World. And Super Mario World, 2D platformer. They added Yoshi in this one, so you had your little dude to ride and eat things, and there was 5 different colored Yoshis. The graphics were solid. The color palettes were good. The music and sound were quality. The boss fights in the castles were really good. They added a bunch of new stuff in this game that they'd never done before. Like you were climbing on the fence and you could go behind the fence, which is something you later saw in Castlevania. You could go behind the fence and walk on the second layer.
You could walk sort of in the background of the screen.
Yeah, it is a solid platformer that is enjoyable. I've always had fun playing it. I go back, frankly, I think I've probably played this every year or every other year at least at some point. And I'll play it all the way to completion. I'll start fresh and just play it again because it's just a quality, fun game. There is a difficulty to it in some places. You want to find all the secret areas and unlock all that. Completely unnecessary. Star Road is freaking hard. Some of the levels up there in the bonus stage are super duper difficult. So, yeah, I mean, you can say whatever you want. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong. In any argument, Link to the Past is probably the better game. This is obviously an opinion based.
Right.
And I have gone back and played Super Mario World from start to finish. I don't know how many times. I'm going to say minimum 10. And I've played Link to the Past from start to finish twice, maybe.
I think Link to the Past is a longer game.
For sure, without a doubt. It's more involved, and if you forget where things are, it's just a rough. But I've remembered where damn near everything is in Super Mario World. So, it's right there. There's the key exit. I get it. And I understand why Link is such a good game, but Super Mario World's my number 1. So, that is it. Our top 5 and bottom 5, guys. Thanks for joining us for this little extra episode we wanted to do. So it's obviously much shorter than a normal episode. We are going to take this Saturday off, and then we will be back on Sunday starting the next set of 50 games. The first game we're going to play is The Wanderers of Ys 3.
Ooh.
Was a game from the first 50 that we couldn't play because the
version we had was in Japanese.
Yep, we had the Jap version, so now we have an English released version, and we can play that. So we're going to start with that one, and excitedly so.
All I remember, all the Wonders of Ys makes me think of is just Lagoon. Because we had to decide between those 2 games to play.
Oh. Yeah, but we really didn't have anything to base it off of. I think Lagoon, frankly, is probably the better game. Rob says, and Ys is pronounced East, so it's the Wanderers of Ys. Ease? Ease like easy, or East?
I believe it's East.
It's spelled ease like easy. I don't know. I'm sure Rob will inform us because he knows what the hell he's talking about. At least somebody does. So yeah, that's what we got, guys. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe with us. We got us on Twitter, SNES Life, and Facebook, and CGN Network, and Discord, and Twitch. We're on Twitch and YouTube at this point. So we really appreciate you guys' continued watching and views and sharing and all of that stuff on our social medias. I think that's it. You got anything else you want to say?
I don't have anything.
No. So that's it, guys. We'll see you on Sunday night. Have a good one.
See you guys.